everybody, how's it going? Beautiful day here in Michigan, and today I want to talk about dreams and visions and the thing you want most in your head and happiness, and just finding this balance of happiness. And you want to enjoy your life, you want to enjoy every day, and if you're waking up doing something that you don't enjoy, then it's probably not for you. So this is just to encourage people to find what makes them happy, because I think that's the reason that you're here, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. So James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. This is a great book, real short, takes like an hour to read. I recommend it to everybody. It's a great read, and opens your mind up a little bit. But here on one of the chapters called Visions and Ideals, and I just want to run through a couple texts here that he's got written here. It says, the dreamers are the saviors of the world. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. And then he goes to talk about Columbus, and wanting to travel and find America. Basically, that's probably like super scary. Back in that day, you think that the world's just gonna end, like you just drop off, you don't know what's next. But he had a vision, and I bet, I don't know the guy because he's a long time ago, he's an old timer, but I bet if I would have asked him what he loved and what he loved to do, he would have said, man, I get excited about seeing new things and traveling, and I want to find new world. I want to find a new world. I bet you it was something along that line. So those are great. And then he goes into talk about cherish your visions, cherish your ideals, cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in the mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts, for out of them you will grow all delightful conditions. So he's basically just saying that once you find something you love, that's you. You're expressing yourself, and that ultimately opens more doors for understanding who you are as a person. I am pretty happy right now with my life, and it's because I'm doing stuff that I like to do. My day consists of doing fitness stuff and making social media content for my fitness brand, and it makes me happy. So that's why I'm doing this. Let's keep going here. So I want to talk about this dude, Derek Rabello, and this guy is an interesting guy. If you look into him, he's a surfer, okay, but he had a great struggle becoming a surfer, because this dude is blind. He was born with glaucoma. He was born blind. He can't see nothing, and his dad named him from the Hawaiian surf champion Derek Ho. And so he wanted his son to be a professional surfer, but how do you surf if you're blind? This dude is amazing. He can, despite seeing the waves, he can feel the waves, and it's like it's a part of him in here. So I just think that's really cool. Despite him being blind, he gets up every day and he does what he loves to do, and that's surfing. That's cool. All right, I also want to talk about Steve Jobs, man. This guy he's like kind of my idol right now for like entrepreneurial and business and stuff, just because he affected so many companies in their way of thinking. And one of them was John Scully. He was the president of Pepsi back in the day, and Steve Jobs worked with him for a little bit, and there's one conversation written down that they have, and it's a pretty famous conversation, but Steve Jobs asks John Scully, he hits him up, he's like, yo man, he's like, so what do you want to do with the rest of your life? You want to continue to sell sugar water to everybody, or do you want to come with me and change the world? And John Scully says that if that right there, that comment was like getting punched in the gut, because he laid it out so clearly. Because I'm betting that it's not, it's not something you love to sell sugar water, but who knows? That's still a successful company. And then Tesla. there's an article written on entrepreneur.com by Carmine Gallo, and he went to a Tesla store, and well, first, basically, so Apple, the way the Apple store is walked in, I'm sure everybody's been in an Apple store. You know, you walk in and it doesn't have a cashier. You know what you have? You have more of a hotel setting. That's what Steve Jobs was going for. He's going for a hotel setting. You walk in, instead of seeing a cashier, you see a concierge, okay? And instead of a bar, like a bar, you know, you walk in, you see the lobby, there's a bar, and they're serving, at a hotel, they're mostly serving alcohol. Well, you walk into an Apple store, you see the bar back there, and instead of serving alcohol, there's geniuses serving, you know, advice. So it's kind of got that tie to a hotel, which is cool. And this Carmine Gallo went to the Tesla place, and he was like, jokingly said, made a comment, "This place kind of looks like an Apple store," and he was like, Carmen, this is an Apple store. I just sell cars here. So I just think that's cool. He affected a car company, the way they set up a store, the way they do business, just by his just pushing people to think like deeper and to find more creative outlets to change things. And I just think that's really cool. So let's continue here. All right, and then I got a story for you. Okay, this story is going to show you that you've got to find what you like to do. You got to find what you love. You know, this life, you can't just exist. Existing isn't an option, okay? If you want to have a happy life, I don't think you can just exist. You got to learn to live, you know? You got to learn to find the thing that makes your heart go like this, whether it's family, whether it's God, whether it's, you know, whatever you find makes you happy. You got to know yourself. You gotta question these things. So, all right. So it's called the rocks and sand. The rocks and the sand. All right. So there's a philosophy professor, and the philosophy professor, he's got a couple things laid out. You know, he's got a can, right? This can, and he's got some rocks and he's got some sand. Okay, and in the beginning, he puts the rocks into the can, right? Big rocks, they're about this big, each one stacked up, right? You know, so it's in a can, and he shakes it to the students, and he's like, "Is this can full?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, it's full. It can't fit any more rocks, that's for sure. It's full." So he says, "Okay, cool." And then he pours the sand, and what does the sand do? It finds the little crevices where the rocks aren't. So it starts to fill in the spaces between the rocks and the can, okay? And he says, now is the can full? And everybody's like, "Well, yeah, duh, it's full for sure." And he's like, "Okay, well, let's do it this way. Let's dump everything out, blah, 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 blah." And then he put the sand in first. And he put the sand in first, and what does that do? It creates a level surface, you know, and now he puts the rocks in, and you can only put so many rocks in now because there's sand, and the container's smaller because the sand level's higher. So he can put only, like, let's say 5 rocks in this time, and he was able to put 10 in before. So he only put 5 rocks in. Now, he said, "I want you to think of this can as your life, as your life, okay? And the sand represents the small things in life, like work and just the little things that bother you, the stupid little things of life, right? You know, all those little things. And the rocks are the big important things that make you happy in here and that touch you somehow." And so the whole analogy is that you gotta focus on the rocks in your can first. You put the big things in your life that make you happy into your can first, and then sprinkle the sand in. And that way you get a full and happy life. That's the idea of the whole story. So I hope you guys got something out of that today. It's a beautiful day, and we were doing some cool stuff earlier. You should check that out. I was doing a flagpole off our four-wheeler thing, and that was pretty cool around the yard. So go check that out. Be sure you like and subscribe. I will be talking to you soon. Stay positive and persevere.